Hey folks! Welcome back to Let's Play LSD. I'm your host CPC Gamer, and in our last episode, the game bugged out and came close to behaving like its namesake. It was kinda trippy. Appropriately. We also made it to Dream 300, a milestone that makes it happier than it really has any right to. I know we still have quite a long way to go, but I'm happy that we've made it this far. Also, there was a weird event in the pagoda where it looked like I got pulled off the edge of the balcony. I said I would try to recreate it in flashback mode while the last episode processed, and I did! I didn't succeed. But didn't I make you feel happy with that little bait and switch to begin with? Kinda reminds me of one of my favourite jokes. Captain Blackadder is totally and utterly guilty of nothing more than trying to do his job. Yeah, sorry, not entirely sure what possessed me to check the floor for a second there. Maybe my imaginary keys fell out of my pocket or something. I'm sure I had a good reason for doing it, but that kind of information is stored in the left side of my brain, which I tend to leave on autopilot for videos like this one. On the plus side, the left side of my brain is the one that knows how to yodel, so you can be pretty confident I'm never going to do that in an LSD video. I know, you're just as disappointed as I am, but the world is not ready for such things. So instead, I choose to walk into a pole. This is some good music. In a very peculiar kind of a way. It's the kind of thing that I put on my playlist when I want to get my head down and study, you know? Something that's not melodic enough to hum along to, no lyrics to sing along to, just... Again, alien white noise that keeps the impatient bit of my brain occupied. Alright, see ya, Jeff. I've been thinking a lot about the human brain lately. As is the case when I come to store new bits of information in my own. I don't understand how it works. I know, for example, the phrase "suika wa oishi desu," but I don't know what combination of chemicals and electrical impulses keep that information in my head. But this is why I'm a guy who works in a shop playing LSD for the internet in his downtime, rather than a brain surgeon. Because if I did know how the human brain works and does what it does, I would probably use this knowledge A, to master Japanese in a day or whatever, and B, to come up with some kind of cyborg army for my own nefarious purposes. Another advantage of me not being an officially credited mad scientist is that all the people who know how all the big important stuff works, who still go for the whole sanctity of life thing, are still around, so there's a lot less unfortunate events concerning the people around me. Someday, though. Someday. But until then, I'm playing LSD the Dream Emulator. Hey folks, I'm CPC Gamer. You know what'd be spooky? If somebody walked across that corridor as you turn the corner. I like it when games use their own restrictions to spooky effects like that. There is one instance, and only one instance, where they do that in Fear. Am I stuck? Yes, I am. Thank you, game. I was hoping to listen to that music before moving on, but you want me to link out. Super. But yeah, in Fear, there's this one bit where you have to climb down a ladder. And since the whole game is first person, there is a point where you're looking at the floor. And as you look up, you see a monster walking towards you. And it does a really good job of giving you a scare, because you're locked into the climbing animation, and you know you can't protect yourself. And it's kind of weird, because by and large, the Fear games aren't scary. Or good. So to get something so right is baffling. I'm sure that I mentioned it before. The final sequence of the first game is fantastic. Oh. It's almost as good as the pop-in on that castle. Nice work, game. But for the most part, you plod through Fear, fighting the bland guys in grey armour. But during the finale, ghosts start tearing themselves out of the scenery. And you have to fight your way through basically that bit in Ghostbusters when they shut down the ecto containment system, and it's really well done. And if the whole game had been like that, maybe I would still be ragging on it. What, 4 years after I played it and stopped caring about it? I don't know. Thankfully, we've got something to do now. The last time I was here, I did indeed see the bear run away as I began to link with the rabbit. And initially, I made it analogous to something dreadful, but I mean, I still think it's analogous to something dreadful, so I don't really know how to end that sentence. Are you being dynamically stretched? I mean, I want to say no, because the game isn't slowing down, so it's probably just a weird perspective trick, but it looked like he was getting bigger and smaller as I moved around to look at him. That's pretty weird. This music isn't weird, though. This is music I have in my playlist. And on this channel, because it's such a nice and pleasant little tune. And perhaps it's because of the scenery the game's thrown in front of me, but I like to imagine this music represents some kind of alien dawn. Oh, and there's a rarity. I haven't seen you for a while, Mr. Horse. Not gonna bother playing with you because I can't catch up to you, but I saw you nonetheless. Now, I really do feel like this game is some kind of alpha just put onto a disc and shipped, because I feel like there should be a lot more stuff out here in the natural world than there is. I mean, a lot more moving stuff, at any rate. I think this is the cottage. Yeah! I can navigate. Usually by way of pubs, which I had assumed was something that everybody did, but apparently it's exclusive to us northerners. As is the phrase, turn on the big light. And I'm gonna leave you guessing on what that one means. Is it an instruction, or is it a euphemism? Who knows? Or cares? So, I wonder how the game deals with the interior of the cottage. Because the outside doesn't look like it could contain 3 floors at the size that they are. I mean, one may also say that l'intérieur c'est beaucoup plus grand que l'extérieur. Oh, and that's something. I thought I was linking with the tree rather than waking up. I guess when I slip into another language, I get so focused on getting the words right that I forget how the world around me is functioning. I suppose that is some kind of an incentive to study and practice it, right? Like, if you do it enough, you'll make it to the point where you can do something without thinking, and that's a pretty good feeling. It's like me in typing. Like, I can touch type and do it really quickly, but if ever you saw a little baby CPC gamer at his first keyboard, it was a really awkward affair. And you're sending me here a lot in this session, game. What's going on? I mean, I know it's been a couple of days between I recorded each video, but I know that I've been here a lot. And that's actually okay, especially with this tile set. Right, I know this one is meant to be the downer texture pack, or that's what it's referred to online, at any rate. But I like these looks. I mean, I wouldn't say they were bright and cheerful or anything, but they're certainly not a downer. They're more like, you know, the kind of thing we had in the 90s. Oh, speaking of radical things, are you going to show me the demon again today? It looks like no. But that's okay, because you don't need stuff and things to be happy. I mean, they most assuredly help. And if I didn't have 90% of the stuff in my flat, I would probably lose my mind, but, you know, you don't need it. And I feel like I could stand here and stare out over the bay to watch the sailor over there. You know, were it not for the dream abruptly ending. Shame, really, because the sailor would have made a very good panorama. Someone should draw that. Get on it, apparent legion of good drawing maker fans that exist in my mind. And I'm going to do another dream while you do that. And I'm going to feel exceptionally sad that some of the more outrageous dreams are fading from the dream chart. It really does not feel like that long ago that I shot off the edge of the dream chart, but now it's a dull grey and it's on its way out. I'm glad I got it on camera, though. I'm at a total loss to explain how I scored off the charts and what that actually correlates to, but I did it. And it's on YouTube for all to see. If you feel so inclined to troll through however many videos of faffing around to get to it. Now, I wonder why you guys have escape AI. I mean, I kind of get why the one outside does, although it seems like he's on a track rather than a dynamic route or whatever, but you can't get out from behind there. So why do you have a behavior set to run away like that? And I may need to admit defeat on this one. Much like the bell in Kyoto, staring at the double head behind the bar doesn't seem to do anything. It certainly doesn't do what their respective pages on the wiki say, so I don't know where some of that nonsense came from. And I know this is a very silly thing to say, but this little tableau looks very dreamlike. There is a peacock standing guard at a castle, waiting for its owner to return. I suppose anything can sound dreamlike if you describe it simply enough and leave out the specific location of things. Ooh! Happy Town by Night. And with what I believe to be a new twist on the established music. I really am liking the spacey, ambient tunes we're getting in this video. Just a shame it doesn't seem to be doing anything to the dreams or the chart at the end, yeah? Oh, I recognize this one though, we're in the Violence District. And I don't know why I feel the need to announce where we're going just before we get there. I mean, possibly my desire to be the smartest person in the room at all times? Although, speaking of groovy designs, we have not seen this one for a while. Again, it's meant to be a downer texture pack, but I think this is really pretty. And I also like trying to see the game try and display vertical lines that have been compressed horizontally. It's like the floor is having some kind of rave. Bit let down the sailor isn't here. Suppose it makes sense. I mean, you can't be all contemplative and stare out into the sea wistfully if you're in the middle of disco land, you know? You can't really do much if you're in disco land. Beyond disco. And Crazy Taxi, for some reason. But I'm not going to complain, because I do love Crazy Taxi. I also love creepy abandoned warehouses that have stuff in them. So, what do you say, game? Want to show me something? Apparently not. I suppose that's what I get for screwing around with the soldier guy last time I was here. As before, I'm not taking the game seriously, so the game isn't taking me seriously. It's fair enough though, because I wouldn't take myself seriously most of the time. I'm sitting here doing live commentary over this game. I'm hardly material to be the, space vice president or something. Although with that said, Gunner Dan is in the warehouse, so nothing else. Whoa! Okay, that is not something I was expecting to deal with. Surprisingly, because that is basically where this guy lives. And he showed up as the foghorn sounded, so that's double plus spooky. And I like how my initial reaction to seeing the Grey Man is to run off and have myself shot. I mean, that's a reasonable reaction to an adversary, am I right? Oh, and just like that, we have confirmed that it is, in fact, the line of sight that triggers the gunman, rather than just proximity. We can get a good close look at him, too. Now, there's a bit of behind-the-scenes chicanery going on right there, because the gunshot sound is actually the footsteps through water sound, slowed down by about 75%. And it has a brilliant but unintended side effect, where you can hear a low gurgling noise as you fall to the ground. I don't know why, but that makes the whole thing that much better. Now, apparently there is also a scenario where the gunman will shoot, but he will fall to the ground instead of you. I can't even think of a way to explain that one. And come to think about it, I can't think of a way to explain the gunman in my much wider alien abduction theory, so what the hell? Oh, also, I just had to do a quick button check. Because I was looking over my shoulder when the last stream ended, and the game didn't reset my controls to neutral, I wanted to see if I had my head on backwards for this particular dream. And no, in fact, I don't. And you've shown up in the kitchen more times during this batch of LSD than the entire run up until this point, you weird limp. What's going on with you? And why am I always sent to this corner? I suppose you could argue that it's a neutral position on the map, but it's still closer to one exit tunnel than the other, so the suggestion is that you go to the flesh tunnels. Which is what I am now going to do. So, I'll be seeing you. I think I'm going to wander into the tunnels themselves and do a bit of exploring. And maybe not take the same route that I always do. Just get in there and mix it up. Do something new. Listen to a different band. Take a different route to work. Throw a trash can through a plate glass window. It is all good. Although now I come to think about it, isn't that place a loop? I'm pretty sure that's a figure 8 with one little track to the end, which is why I always end up taking that loop when I'm there. I wonder if they're a symbol for something. A kana symbol, that is, not a symbol as in a metaphor. Although if you think about it, the fact that the womb leads to an area internally known as the temple could mean something. You know, there is a long journey, a huge fight at the end of it, beyond which lies consciousness and enlightenment. And that could be meditation or childbirth. Wow, game, you are surprisingly deep at times. When I ascribe such behaviors to you, at any rate. I mean, apparently there are Japanese websites that talk about this game, and they say how the West hasn't worked out the point of the game yet. Maybe the point of the game is that there is no point to the game beyond that which you give it. I mean, it makes sense, right? That there's no princess to save, no world to end with me, no guiding principle beyond play the game for however long until you reach the end of the in-game year. And occasionally harass sharks. Because frankly, they need harassing. Like, who looked at the shark, nature's chainsaw, and went, yeah, I think we need to put 7 more rows of teeth on that. And also, it will never stop growing teeth. That's brilliant. Right, are you going to do your thing? I think you should, because it'll be a nice ending to the video. And it would make the Zeppelin make a lot more sense perspective-wise, and there you go. Okay. Hey, Easter Island heads, we're shrinking. Or you're growing. I'm never entirely sure. Whatever, the perspective gets all screwy, and that is awesome. Like a hot dog. I wonder which way around it is with the perspectives here. Like, are we shrinking, or is everything else growing? I think it's like that thing with either 2 faces or a candlestick. And depending on how long you look at it, the whole thing shifts back and forth. Oh, and that is a bench in the background. I forgot there were benches over there. I thought I was seeing a blue hole in the scenery. So of course I'm going to be greedy and ask if you're going to stretch again. For those of you who don't know, first of all, I am judging you super hard right now for not committing every iota of this game to your memories. But secondly, I've recorded an instance of this where the scenery stretched twice, and it went so high that it just vanished. Now, I've never been able to recreate it, so I'm really glad that I caught it on camera. Alright, how close to you... how close to landing are you, Mr. Zeppelin? Because I want to hop on board for... whatever it is you do when you land. I think it's a gear room animation. Also, I kind of hope that the Grey Man shows up now, because I want to see what he looks like with the stretched up scenery. And I guess the Zeppelin doesn't want to land right about now. You are meant to touch down next to the bridge, man. Where are you going? And when you get there, what do you think that you're gonna do? Oh. Well, bye then. I don't need you here anyway, that's cool. Oh, I get it. Exception handler. Very clever. Alrighty, join us next time for something else. And until next time, goodbye!